Okay, so both of the papers, the Hastings Democrat and the Hastings Gazette, published the fact that Brown's Chapel had been started, a fire had been started there, and they both described pretty detailed information that the sash was lifted and someone cut the screen, raised the sash, and climbed into the church, and then they proceeded to scatter kerosene on the pews and the floor and the walls and lit it on fire. And the result of that fire was that many of the pews were all charred, the windows were broken, and the church was uninhabitable. And this community who had started the church 17 years before that lost their place of worship, their place that they could get together as a community, and it was a place of their own, and they lost that connection, that community center. There is never anything published about, after those two articles reporting the fire, nothing else was reported. We've followed up and looked through a lot of the papers following that and found nothing. The only indication we have is what I would call hearsay, because Hastings historian Hazel Jacobson, who was very interested in all things Hastings, all the history of Hastings, and she often entertained at her house. She was quite the social person. And one evening she says, and I'll just add this, Hazel had the habit of writing little things, notes about people, and just sticking it in the files with their family name and stuff. And sometimes it was implicating them in some way or other, and it was interesting. It wasn't printed in a paper, but she wanted the information to be known as how we take it. So she overheard one of her guests, who she said had a couple, was lubricated, I think she said. It was interesting how she put it. At any rate, the young man, or the man who said that he was part of burning the church when he was a boy, would have only been 5 years old at the time. And his little buddy that he's implicated, that he said was with him, would have only been 4. And it would not have been possible, it would have been very unlikely that those boys, this was a white frame church, the windows are pretty far up off the ground, the fact that they would have been able to get up there, cut the sash, raise that heavy, cut the screen and raise that heavy sash seems unlikely. It feels more likely that someone older, an adult or an older teenage, may have been part of it. There is also a little oral history that was told to someone by Hazel, that it was an older teenage boy that did it. So these are all hearsay things, and we can't back them up. But it's the only information we do have on that.